want to ask you something today, and I want you to really sit with it before you answer. Is it okay to be happy again after loss? Not the perform kind of okay, not the answer you give people when they check on you, but the real answer. The one you whisper to yourself at night when the house is quiet and you are not sure if what you are feeling is healing or something you should be ashamed of. Because somewhere along the way, grief taught a lot of us that happiness after loss is dangerous, that feeling better means forgetting, that laughing again means you did not love them enough, that moving forward means moving away. And so we stay in the heaviness, not because we want to, but because it feels safer than the guilt that comes every time something small make us smile. Today, we are talking about that guilt and about what it is waiting for you on the other side of it. For a long time, I did not think my heart will ever feel open again. Loss has a way of making you guard yourself. You build walls because you think that is how you stay safe. That is how you protect what you had. That is how you honor them. But then something unexpected happens. A friend says something funny and you laugh. A song comes on and your foot start tapping before you even realize it. A morning arrives with sunlight coming through the window, and for just a moment before the day fully began, you feel something that is now grief, and immediately the guilt arrives. How can I laugh when he's not here to laugh with me? How can I enjoy a morning when when he will never see another one? What does it mean that I felt okay today? Does it mean I am forgetting him? Does it mean I did not love him as much as I thought? I want to speak directly to that guilt right now. It is lying to you. The guilt that tells you happiness is a betrayal is not love protecting his memory. It is grief trying to keep you small, and you are not meant to stay small. Grief guilt after losing a spouse is one of the most common and least talked about experiences in the widow healing journey. Almost every person who has lost someone deeply has felt the strange shame of feeling better. You are not alone in this, and you are not wrong for wanting to feel joy again. Stay with me, because what I am about to share is the thing that changed everything for me. Moving forward after loss does not mean moving away from the person you loved. It means moving with them. Read that again if you need to. Let it settle. Moving with them. Because the love you built does not disappear when they do. It does not dissolve with time or fade with distance. It lives inside you, in the way you care for people, in the way you show up, in the way you keep your heart soft, even when every part of you wants to close it and never risk it again. That is not moving on from Him, that is carrying Him forward. And there is a profound difference between those two things. Before we go further, I want to pause for just a moment. If this conversation is finding you somewhere tender today, I want you to know there is more waiting for you beyond this episode. My memoir, When Goodbye Comes Too Early, shares the full journey from Tim's diagnosis through loss and into healing. You can find it on Amazon. The link is in the description below. I also have a healing journal available on Etsy, a quiet digital workbook designed to give you space to write through your grief at your own pace. That link is in the description as well. You can find more resources and connect with me at ltphopeauthor.com. And if you are watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel at youtube.com/at LTP Hope, so this conversation keep finding you. New episodes of When Goodbye Comes Too Early are available every week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. Hit follow so you never miss one. Now, let us keep going because what comes next is the part that surprises me the most. Love does not vanish, it expands. Hearts are funny things. They do not really stay closed forever, no matter how many walls you build. Somewhere inside, love keeps pushing, not to replace what was, but to remind you that you are still alive. Grief specialists sometimes describe this as the expanding heart. The idea that love does not shrink to fit the loss, it grows around it. The way a tree grows around a wound in its bark, the scar becomes part of the tree, and the tree keeps growing. I love that image because it does not ask you to pretend the wound is not there. It just says the wound does not have to be the ending. Love finds new shapes. It can look like helping someone else through their pain because you know what the dark looks like and you refuse to let someone else sit in it alone. It can look like giving your time to something that matters, sharing your story the way I am sharing mine right now, choosing joy again, not because life is easy, but because love is still working through you and it deserves somewhere to go. Let me ask you something else. When was the last time you did something that made you feel like yourself again? Not the grief version of yourself, not the widow version of yourself, not the person who is still learning how to answer the question, how are you doing without crying? But you, the version of you that existed before the loss, and is still there somewhere, waiting for permission to come back out. Because here is what I have learned about grief recovery. Joy does not arrive all at once. It does not announce itself with a calendar date or a milestone. It sneaks in through small moments. A morning where you make your coffee and stand at the window and realize you are just breathing, not performing grief, not surviving the day, just breathing. And in that breath is permission. Permission to still be here. Permission to still want things. Permission to still become someone. There was a morning not long ago. I will not pretend I know exactly when it was because healing does not keep a neat calendar. But I remember the quality of it, the light, the quiet. I was sitting with my coffee, no particular thoughts, no particular plans, just sitting, and I noticed something. There was no tears, no heaviness pressing down on my chest, no ache waiting to ambush me from the next room, just peace. And my first instinct was to feel guilty about it, to wonder what it meant that I was sitting here peacefully when Tam was not here to sit beside me. But then something else arrived, something quieter than guilt, something that felt like truth. I was not moving on from Tam, I was moving with him. Because the love we built is still inside me in every choice I make toward kindness, in every time I choose to show up for someone else, in every morning I pour my coffee and think of the hand that used to pour it for me with such quiet, ordinary love. He is not my past. He is part of the way I love now. I want you to hear this next part very carefully. Your heart is not betraying anyone by healing. The person you lost did not love you so that you will spend the rest of your life in pain. They love you so that you will know what love feels like, so that you could recognize it, so that you could give it, so that even after they were gone, you will still know how to find warmth in the world. Honoring someone does not require suffering, it requires living fully, honestly, with your whole heart still intact. That is the greatest tribute you can offer the love you shared. Not grief preserved in ember, but love carried forward into every good thing still ahead of you. When love finds new shape, it does not mean the old one disappears. It just becomes the foundation, the ground everything else is built on. Tim's love is part of every good thing that happens in my life. Every time I am kind when I could be cold. Every time I stay when it will be easier to leave. Every time I choose to believe that people are worth showing up for. That is His love still working, still shaping me, still finding ways to be present in a life He's no longer physically part of. And someday, when you are ready, you will notice it happening in your own life too. The love you thought you lost quietly becomes the person you are still becoming. It does not announce itself, it just arrives. In the way you treat a stranger with more patience than you used to. In the way you notice beauty in things that once felt ordinary. In the way your heart despises everything still reaching toward warmth. That is love finding new shape. And it is one of the most quietly miraculous thing a human heart can do. If you are listening right now and wondering whether your hearts will ever feel open again, I want to tell you something with complete certainty. It will. You will know it is starting to happen when the ache begins to make room for warmth. When you catch yourself laughing and realize it does not hurt as much as it used to. When a morning arrives and instead of bracing yourself for the day, you just let it come. That is love reshaping itself to fit the life you are building now. So let it. Let it change. Let it find its new shape. Let it breathe again through you. You are not betraying anyone by healing. You are honoring everything you were loved enough to become. Next time, we will talk about letters to my future self. Our hope grows when you begin to see the woman you are becoming, and how grace carries you further than you ever thought you could go. If today's episode met you somewhere you needed to be met, please share it with someone who is carrying grief, guilt right now. Someone who needs permission to feel okay again. Your share might be exactly what they needed today. A review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts means everything. It helps this podcast find the people who are quietly searching for it. Find the book, The Healing Journey, and more at the link below. Let it change. Let it breathe again through you. Until then, this is LTP Hope, reminding you that when goodbye comes too early, love is what helps us begin again.